Awesome. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Today we've got Farah. We are back with us. We are in the first week of September, and it looks like September is going to be a big month for us and the weeks and months ahead. So we thought we'd just talk about September and what to expect and how to better be prepared and, armed for the best possible outcome. Welcome, Farah.
Hello, Anina. How are you, my beautiful friend?
Very, very good. Thank you.
Good.
Um, yeah, we just connected earlier this week because we thought there was some information and messaging that needs, that the collective needs right now. So that's the reason for our videos. So yeah, we did say we're going to talk briefly about Maui as well, because there's still a lot of confusion about the fires and just kind of tying that up and then going into September. What are the energies looking like? What can we expect and how can we prepare? So take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited. I think I felt like I really needed to get the message out to as many people as possible. I don't have a huge following, so um I don't know.
Yet.
I sent an email out to my database, my client list. So I was getting the message in August, just around the Lionsgate time, that September, and then towards the end of August, that September was a big month for me personally. Spirit told me, wanted me to do a bit of a detox, and also for the collective. So when I was asking, so information, anyone who's channeling information, it comes in bits and pieces. You don't always, well, for me, I don't always get everything all in one go. It kind of comes in, well, for us to be able to receive information, it needs to come in little packages, to be assimilated into the body and understood. And even then it has to kind of be interpreted. But I got the message that September was a big month for the collective, and for me personally. And the more I started tapping into the energy, I started realizing that it is kind of what I would call like a COVID 2.0.
Yeah, I forgot to mention to you, let's be a little careful of our words,
Okay. So
just in case we say anything that they don't like,
2020,
because
2020 2.0. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, the illness
Um,
2.0.
yes. So, there is definitely, from what I can see, the dark structures are, let's call them that. There's rumblings of wanting to create a sort of chaos, sort of apocalyptic Armageddon type of timeline, which is not, it's it's an illusion, right?
Mm,
It's to bring fear in, it's for certain things to happen in the physical, like collapsing financial stuff, and there's a lot of agendas.
mm.
But the difference this time round is the consciousness on the planet is totally different to what it was in 2020. So, um, from what I can see, even that timeline, because I look at how it works together. So in the ether. So when timelines are pulled together, for antimatter to be matter, you're looking at plasma light. Okay, then you're looking at geometric sequencing, and then you're looking at frequency. I actually drew a little thing for my Divine Cosmic Rose body
That's
workshop.
very cool to hear it like that. It actually makes sense.
Yeah, so those things, so the light is information, the geometric sequencing is structure, and then the sound is the hertz, the frequency. So when those things pull together, well, they are essentially one. So the light is in a geometric code that has a frequency in it. But depending on the frequency and the patterning and whatever, that pulls into physical, that's what's pulled into physicality. That's antimatter into matter. So just to talk about our own energy field a little bit, you're constantly creating your physical reality through your thoughts, emotions, and actions. And this is why I speak about the heart, and I'll talk about it a bit more, about how the heart is so important, that coherence in creating, because we're creating unconsciously. So I see it like it's like plasma light, sort of, it flickers or sparks out of the heart, and when you have enough coherence, that comes together and it forms the hologram, right? Because everything's holographic, the hologram around us, that's your individual timeline. Now the AI dark structures have an ability to imprint false holographic realities into our fields, but you can override that through consciousness, thoughts, emotions, actions, and consciously staying in that alignment, because then you rise above and beyond it, because of the frequency can't match up. So that's
But
why
now, how do they do
fear.
that? Can I interrupt you there? When you say they imprint, how does that happen? How does it look to you and I?
It's a really great question. So I can't give you like the total mechanics of it. I can say that they're black box programs. So that I've been shown it in a way that my mind can understand it, because remember, they're working with technology that goes far beyond our understanding. So when I look at and I'm writing about it in my book, when I look at the false inverted matrix, I saw like domes of the planet, but I see those domes within the energy field as well, linked to each chakra. So it has to do with that AI having the technology to put false holographic realities in. It has to do with your frequency. So when you drop into fear or low vibration, that imprint can step in. And I also see it in the body as like belief systems and programs that they put into the body, whether it's physical or metaphysical, or I'm not able to explain the technology, that my mind hasn't wrapped itself around it yet. Maybe in a couple of years I'd be able to. I just know that the ability to be able to do that is there, and it's coming from a sort of black box type of program, batteried outside of Earth.
Can I ask you a quick question before you carry on? Because it's
Sure.
kind of pertinent to what you said now, and I've been wondering about this. So, a lot of what we're going through now, going through the ascension process, is also kind of looking at our shadows and looking at our traumas and healing that. Now, when you kind of experiencing like a shadow coming up, or for you, inevitably it kind of pulls you a little bit into that lower vibrational emotion, if just for a moment. So how does one avoid opening yourself up into that low vibration, potentially opening you up to that black box programming? And how do you process? I mean, I know that we're supposed to have a sense of neutrality, like a more of a neutral emotion around these traumas or unhealed wounds. But still, it's pretty difficult when it comes up for
Good
you.
question. It's such a great question. And yeah, the highest form of consciousness is the neutral observer. However, it's actually interesting, because personally in my life, I've been moving through, splitting up with the father of my child and some really big stuff. So a lot of emotions have been coming up for me, and a lot of emotions linked to experiences that I've created in the now, that I'm clearing, linked to childhood and stuff like that. And so I was in bed the other night asking Spirit, because Spirit said to me, you've become very good at moving emotions through your body, lower vibrational emotions, without being attached to them. So then they showed me like an coil coming out of your heart. It's like a golden coil that links to source. And then as you're allowing yourself to feel emotions, so say you're feeling lonely, or you're feeling really sad, like you're feeling sad because you're lonely, and you're feeling this loneliness and the sadness, as you're feeling that emotion without going into the story. So I was asking, it's when the story becomes you. So when you're overtaken by that emotion. So when you go into the narrative, so that your thoughts with your mind, and then that's when you become locked into it. So while you're observing it, you're just feeling it, and you're like, oh, I'm feeling lonely and sad. And then maybe you have to cry, or you're just feeling it. Then that emotion can move through that coil, get transmuted out the body without it corrupting the structure of the coil. But the
Or
minute,
your overall frequency, right?
yeah, so they just showed it to me from the heart, because obviously everything's heart. So we have to move it out of the heart, and we have to, and the heart is what also keeps the coherence for the rest of the emotions in the body, or the vibration within the body. So the minute so when you're able to move those emotions, then the coil stays intact. Now what happens is that coil gets corrupted, or broken down, which is that link from your heart to source, when you have those moments of the emotion completely overtaking you. So that I'm nothing outside of this emotion. You're so
Yeah,
consumed
you're like
by it.
completely dwelling in it, and you're
Or you're
like,
like in tears and you're like, oh, it's the end of the world. I mean, I've been there, sloshing on the pillow. Please take me off the planet. I can't do it anymore. I've definitely experienced that. But what's been really interesting is in the last while, I've become really good at being the observer. So I feel, and that's why Spirit showed it to me. They said, this is what you're essentially doing. You're not affecting your overall vibration because these emotions have to come out and, up and out of the body. But I'm also not going into the victim story about it's this person's fault or it's that person's fault or I'm angry with that person or they did this to me. I'm just going, wow, I feel sad. I feel a bit lonely. And so I'm watching and I'm observing that emotion and I'm feeling it at the same time without judging it, becoming it, etc. So that is the answer to that question. I hope that made sense.
very good answer. Okay, so yeah, tell us about continue.
So let's go back to September, what's coming in September. So the reason why I really wanted to actually, it's not about, I know everyone gets really excited about the predictions, and it was so funny. My sister said to me, she was like, what happens if nothing happens in September and you've put it out there? And I said, well, I've put in my email that the rumblings are beginning in September, that we might only see it in its physicality in October, November, possibly even 2024, but I don't believe I think it'll carry into 2024. I said, well, that's what you do. I put it out there and I trust what Spirit asks me to do. So as I was saying, the consciousness is very different. So we're all very different. If you think about who you were and what you were thinking at the beginning of 2020 to who you are now, I can imagine you can say you're a completely different evolved human. Yeah. So
most of us watching this video probably.
Absolutely. So now I was explaining your individual holographic reality. So now what the dark structure does, or what they're able to do is, and also again, you could ask me how. It's through various ways that they're able to do it. And again, technology that I'm not fully understanding. One of them would be physical, sacrificial types of ceremonies and stuff on Earth, but there's also off planet an ability to work with technologies we don't comprehend or understand. They are able to affect, or were in the past very good at having the ability to influence collective timelines. So it's very different when it's the collective, because because it's not one person's individual emotions, thoughts, feelings, actions. It's the overall. Okay, so you're looking at percentages and probabilities. So in the 2.0, 2020, it was the probability for them to pull in something that was very Armageddon-like, apocalyptic-like, was much easier than it is now. So I think there's even a level of like, wonder what's going to happen here from the overlords, because as much as they can influence it, there's now a huge consciousness shift. So that also influences whatever they're trying to influence with that structure I was talking about that's coming to pull into matter, into physicality. So even if, for example, they do something physical through the news and whatever, let's use the fake alien
like
invasion.
a false flag, or
I do see something to do with air. So I don't know. I thought possibly gas is emitted through air, but again, like, it will be false. It'll look real.
Yeah.
Those with eyes to see and hearts to know will see through the veil of that, see through the illusion.
Yeah.
I
saw a clip somebody shared, and I didn't want to actually share it on Telegram because I don't like, it's like manifesting it into existence sometimes. But there was some information that was put into the collective through movies where there was prediction of a solar flare or something, but it wasn't going to be a real one coming in 2023. So maybe that's what you kind of found as well. So they're going to make it look like a massive solar flare that's going to kind of destroy the Earth or shift the poles or something. But I don't know.
That's very interesting. I do think it'll be something regarding air and sky. So it could be something like that, false for alien invasion. I think too many people are aware of the Project Bluebeam false alien
Yeah.
invasion for them to even try to run with that.
Yeah.
But it's not off the cards.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could also be like another type of illness spread through air,
Yeah.
influenced by something from the sky. There's so many things it could be. And Spirit said to me, you're not actually supposed to know exactly how it's going to go. No one is, because that defeats the opportunity when we're going to experience the external world or the external happening, us being able to step into like that mastery level. So our responses and our awareness to it is just another level of initiation into the next level within ourselves. So, I mean, I really do want to stress that even if there is a fire raging or something, they're going to use all the elements against us, that they already are on some level being used against us. Whatever it is, if you stay within that thoughts, emotions, actions, coherence, even if you experience for a day or two a little bit of, something not cool around you, if you stay knowing and trusting, staying calm, you will always have a solution presented to you. So again, even with financial issues, with some stuff happening with the bank, there will spring up solutions. They'll spring up um uh, something ability for you to be able to move forward. So like I always saw with the bifurcation, this was about in 2 or 3 years ago, I always saw, and I think I spoke to you about it, you could be living in your bliss and your next door neighbors going through absolute turmoil, and then the person next to them and the person next to them. And so that's this bifurcation, new earth versus old earth, that is happening first on an individual level until we can bring it into a collective, so then anchors into the physical whole collective.
That's why it's so important to keep focusing on a positive outcome, no matter what happens, because it's about bringing that into existence. And it's so easy to be pulled into fear and the unknown, and but what if this happens? And if we kind of let go of the need to control everything and to know everything, and we kind of just surrender and know that it will be okay and that there will be a solution, there'll be a positive outcome, we must be able to manifest that, right? And also collectively.
Totally. So in my email, I said, just stay in your lane. And you know what's going to be the hard part of it is, how do we hold space for those who experience Armageddon?
Yeah.
And then we're not. And we have to keep the structural integrity of our eco field and ecosystem within intact. So we can do that through astral travel, conscious astral travel, sleep time. We can do it through prayer. We can do it through sending light, holding that flame, being there for others, so being calm and talking to people, hearing them, and still having that empathy. Because what people choose to see, they're going to find evidence for. If someone wants to see it as the whole world is in recession, all the money's gone to shit, they will find evidence to back up that belief system or what it is that they're seeing. That's why you can't get into an information war with people. I learned that a little while ago. Whatever you want to believe, it will show up in your reality to tell you
what is the truth, really? That you can find so many different truths, to be honest, like you say.
Yeah,
you can find evidence to back up your truth.
Totally. And I always say to people, I'm like, any situation, like just take a relationship, for example, or a relationship between a sister and a sister, a mother and a daughter, a partner, a husband and wife. If the one person does something that's not great to the other, both people will have their perspective that will both hold truth. So how you choose to view, so you can, I'm just trying to think of an example that doesn't involve something personal to me, because this is YouTube. So I keep always using my own personal experiences. Because obviously that's how I teach and learn, is through my own personal experiences. But if
I guess it's like you have a fight with someone, and one person's truth is their truth, and and you just simply can't see the other one's truth, no matter. And it's like both are wrong and both are right at the same time, but you can't.
Yeah,
Is
so
that?
so it's always about you. So like a good example is, so with me becoming a single mom recently, I've had to move through, it's been a lot. It's been a lot on my plate. It's been a lot for me to manage financially, emotionally, everything, time-wise, energy. And so I'd have moments where I'd feel angry and I would feel like it's unfair. And
Mm,
certain people are not doing what they're meant to doing, and there is a physical truth around it being unfair. But then
mm,
Spirit said to me, but flip the script. Look at it like you're grateful that you get to have the time with your child, to parent your child the
mm,
way you want to parent your child, to that you're being supported, through your business. So then I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's so true. So I could either look at it from that perspective, which holds a truth that it's not
mm.
fair and it's not
Yeah.
nice what's been done to me, or I could look at it from the perspective that it's actually amazing. And they're
Mm,
both true. How I choose to view it
mm,
it's going to affect me, not the other person. That other person, whoever else is involved in that, it's on them to do their work to figure out how to view things and work through their own things. Of course, I have to, in the process, look at myself. What did I do to contribute to this and this and this and this? And how can I work on those aspects of myself? But I'm just
mm,
saying, in terms of how we view a truth, I always say to people, make sure you're viewing it, especially with emotional relationships, in a way that best serves you.
mm,
Why? Because then you're not a victim, you're keeping your vibration high, and there's so many truths. Well, the one that you're attached to says a lot about who you are.
yeah. Yeah. And your growth and mastery, right?
Yeah. So going into whatever's coming, we have to just really do the inner work. And it's not easy. It's really not easy, because we fall into default programming and patterning that we've been accustomed to living in or experiencing our whole lives. So there's a certain level of stopping and going, wait, hold on. I'm not going to do this victim story. I don't have to be in fear. It does look like everything's falling apart. I'm not a channel. I'm not a medium. I don't really get messages from spirit. So I don't know what's real, what's the illusion. If anyone just takes the time to close their eyes, take a deep breath, really feel into it, like, don't listen to anyone else, go with your own heart. You're going to be, when you get out of fear and panic and you sink into like a gentleness, you can do breath work, all of those things. You're going to go, okay, what's the next step? And you just keep stepping and moving, and solutions will be presented. And I do believe that some people will create like heaven on earth timelines during the apocalypse timeline. It's like the rapture and the tribulation and everything, and then it's also like heaven on earth. So there's all this extreme polarities happening, and that's to do with the extreme awakening of consciousness and the extreme certain souls choosing to stay asleep.
Mm. And the bifurcation of timelines are now becoming more apparent, as we go, as the Earth's frequency is rising, we're seeing that polarity more of, people with very different views on reality.
And all of those views holding some kind of perspective of truth.
Mm,
As I said, wherever you look for truth, you're going to find it. But what are you doing? So how the whole thing about this journey into union with self and ascension and basically coming to the oneness, but you've got to start with the individual oneness to get there. It's being in a space where you're so sovereign and so in control of an understand, not control's not the right word, when you're so in understanding about your ability to create, your connection to your higher self, source, God, nothing outside of you can affect you. And it's a
mm,
great I said to someone a couple of years ago, I said, you can be in prison, but if you're connected and you have ability to understand what's going on in your mind and to be connected to self, you can be free as a bird. Doesn't matter where you
mm.
are, you can be incarcerated. People can have all the money in the world and free as a bird and still be incarcerated because they are within their mind, heart, thoughts, and emotions.
Exactly. I heard an interview about somebody that treats dementia patients, and she also channels. And she was saying, you know, you may feel sorry for that person sitting there with dementia. They look like, you know, they're not there and like they're suffering and it's awful. But that person is actually free because they chose to kind of remove themselves a little bit from that physical body. And they are so free. They're not bound by any of the social structures. So it just shows you a person that looks like it's a devastating situation could be
Yeah,
in utter bliss and free to for their soul to travel where they want to travel without being bogged down in this body. And that's what they decided. You know, I'm not saying that's right or should be like that, but
no, but absolutely, like not this my daughter and I were talking about it, like this self-awareness that we have. You know, this earth is a really extreme polarized place. So, you know, what we look like, how we're received by people, how we receive people, there's just so many nuances to things. And
social pressures, political correctness, you know,
totally,
things we should be doing, what, you know, so, you know, I don't know, demands from friends, family. It's like so many demands on us, and it keeps pulling us back into that 3D kind of way of life, you know.
totally. And actually all of it doesn't really actually matter because everyone
Mm,
else is a player in your holographic reality. They're just here to teach you something about yourself. Even the external, that's where the whole Ho'oponopono, you are responsible not just for what you've done, but what others do to you. It's one of the most
mm,
powerful um, mantras, verses, prayers you can say. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, to everyone and everything around you. You basically stating, I'm a master creator and I created it all, even the person who broke into my house. At some level, I created it.
mm.
A lot of people aren't ready to go there and they're not ready to
Yeah,
receive that. So I
they
get
get very
that.
triggered when you say that. But do you know what happened to me? I was attacked, and you know all these things. So it's a difficult one. But it's so funny that you're saying that. When I was a little girl, I had this idea that I was the only person on the planet, and everyone else were actors. Like I just couldn't imagine.
But that's but I keep telling people, I'm like, you do know that we're moving into the genius mind, which is holding two opposing thoughts, grounding them into the body. One truth is there is only you on the planet. And
Mm,
another truth is there are six or seven, I don't know how many billion others. But
mm,
it is true from one perspective, exactly what you saw
yeah,
and experienced as a child is true. They're
yeah,
just actors and players in your being called into your reality,
yeah.
except for children on some level. And I haven't actually channeled more about it, and I said I should, but Spirit said for some on some level, our children, our babies, our physical children, they're not holographic, they're not players in our holographic reality. There's some kind of thread or link there when they're children until they
Mm,
get bigger, but I have to dive into that information a little bit more.
yeah. They're obviously not self-reliant yet, so they still need a lot of guidance and support. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
so
couldn't
there's some
imagine.
link, there's some like a cord, or I don't know if it's like some mirror aspect to self from both
Mm,
sides where you kind of join to do it together, experience together. I'm just sort of
yeah.
hearing the information come through now.
Hmm. Now, how can we deal with the weeks ahead? How can we collectively make sure we manifest? Because you speak about collective manifestation here. If we want an overall positive outcome, we can actually collectively
So
manifest
the
that on a
most
timeline.
important thing to do is to work on manifesting for yourself. So the more people who are individually manifesting their highest timeline and their divine bliss timeline, new earth reality, the energetics of that spin out into the collective and then create. That's the strongest way you can help the rest.
Mm,
So like I said, you can also do it in meditation where you can actually go into the quantum bridge connector. That's just the field where I see ether, where I see plasma.
all possibilities.
Yeah, so where I see structure, where antimatter could be pulled into matter. So possibilities, but in the form of light, sound, and geometric patterning. So you can work with like tapping into yourself to see what is the geometric coding within your body, what's the resonance, I know we have all these people have these fancy machines and stuff that can do it, but you actually have the ability to do it within. When you drop into yourself, if you just ask in meditation your higher self a question, you will get an answer. So everyone will do it slightly differently, but I do encourage people to just go within, go within, go within, and then start to learn, well, start to work on trusting yourself, right? I learned to do that through walking meditations over many years, and I learned how to channel information and like I telepathically hear. And then you can obviously get images and visuals. So you've got your clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. But most people go into space of saying, oh, I'm not sure, or maybe I made it up.
They doubt themselves
Don't do
or
that.
they've been
Yeah.
told.
Yeah. So you can work with someone like me. So that's what I work one-on-one with my clients, is actually my greatest thing is to give them that ability, or to hold the space for them to step into that ability within themselves. Or I think it is great to work with like a coach or a mentor or a healer, someone that you resonate with, just to give you that baseline. And also there's a couple of like bylaws and things that people like myself and others have figured out over many years of doing it, so you can get a little jump ahead with like, okay, you can't just go into someone else's field and do something without their consent, and there's a couple of rules you've got to stick to when you're doing the work. And then well, like what I want to do with my membership is so most of my members have learned how to, and Anina, I must put you on the membership. So there's the Divine Cosmic Rose workshop. You can download all the meditations that I've done are there. I did a great meditation yesterday on recalibrating the cellular structure through heart coherence. All of those things will help. And then I want to do with my members, we go as a team into conscious astral travel, and then we'll ask Spirit as a team, where do we need to go to do healing on the earth? So I did many years of that with an amazing other healer woman, planetary light worker. She's like the what is the Luke Skywalker of the cosmic planet work. So you can go under the ground, you can ask Spirit, which continent do I need to go to, what city, and everyone has different gifts that they can work with, bringing that energetic into the healing of the land or the buildings or the mountains. Or I mean, I've been in the astral realm into laboratories and changed the structure of some of the I can't say the word, the sickness they tried to bring out
the
again.
treatment.
Not that they were trying to bring out. It was in 20.
A weapon that is of the bio kind.
Yeah, they were also trying to. They were, when there were some variants that happened that didn't take on as much speed as they should have.
Yes, there was the Marburg one that they were talking about.
Omnicron, that one.
Yes.
Before that was coming out, I think 2 weeks before we got the message, I had to go into different labs around the world, and I said, well, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, and they were asked me to shift and change some of the on the like periodic table, I don't know, I saw it. I'm not a scientist, so I don't have the words to explain it. So they take this out, put this in. Wow. And then yeah, so there's all those kinds of things you can do energetically in the astral realm.
That's amazing. That would be amazing to do that as a group as well.
As a group. And that's the cool thing. Like, there's certain things I can do in the astral realm and certain tools I work with, and that's for me. But you'll have something really individual, like a signature to bring to the planet. And like everyone has their own signature, energetic signature. You're working with energy. You can shift things like this with energy. So imagine I do it in a group. It's very cool.
Yeah, and we didn't really have a chance to discuss this, but we did speak about doing a some sort of workshop, masterclass, activation together. We still need to work out the details of that, but maybe that can take that part of that form where we actually look at collectively shifting something, because I feel it's so necessary right now, shifting things for ourselves, but also for the collective, and going where we need to go,
and doing what we can to assist, because that's why we're here, right? That's what we came for. So no, definitely,
because a lot of people don't know. I see so many people in the comments, they don't know how they can help, or they know that they're part of this journey, and they awakened, and they on board, and they love the content and the discussions, but how can they also contribute and help? And sometimes it can be that
Start
sense of
with self.
we're powerless.
Start with working on yourself. Start with doing the meditations, like getting in touch with your guidance team, system, higher self, God source, whatever you want to call it. Start with that. Working on healing your traumas and your wounds and your triggers and your responses. Like, it's the very basic psychology stuff out to the very, like, we'll eventually get to the quantum cosmic stuff. But that is literally the greatest thing you can do to help. And then you will find, synchronistically, you will find a little group like my group, or you might resonate with someone else and find their group, or you'll bump into someone. And when you're living in that moment to moment heart coherence, like, it's going to pop up into your field and you will get there. But until you get there, work on yourself, and don't ever stop working on yourself, and working on, like, just bringing so much awareness to the actions that you're creating through your thoughts and emotions.
That self-awareness, that mindfulness.
Yeah, my battery's not going to last much longer. So, this feels like such a quick chat for us, because we could talk for hours.
I know.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna give you dates for September. Like we spoke about the energy, the beginning of September, the energy's been so soupy and gloopy for me. And I was speaking to other people. I was like, it feels like mud that I'm going through. I even had a heavy head and heavy neck. And I was like, Spirit, this is very opposite energy for what you told me is coming. But I also got the message, like, that energy when it's gloopy like that is asking us to rest. So sometimes we need to rest for something. But I do think possibly middle to end of September. And as I said, it's cooking up in September. It might only and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like with the illness in 2020. It was just one overnight bang, everything down. It could go that way, but it might be more of a build up to something. And just stay awake to the fact that you don't need to panic. There's a lot of illusion, and, like, really look through the veil and understand that whatever people send you out of fear or whatever you want to believe, you will find evidence and truth for that.
Yeah, we have the power to collectively manifest a beautiful new reality for us all.
Yeah, but you've got to do it first on an individual level, and then then the butterfly effect is out from there. It's like you following your calling. If you want to do retreats, if you want to do this, you want to create, the beautiful vivid earth candles, or you want to create sanctuary, then you're creating it within yourself, and then the spillover is out. You're creating pockets of new earth. We're all creating pockets of new earth. It's not
like
that
that flower of life that's overlapping. It starts overlapping like that. So where our bubbles overlap with one another, that's where
yes, that's exactly how. So when I talk about the individual field, then when you look at the collective, it all overlaps. 100% correct. So yeah, like when you are creating for yourself, you are creating essentially the space for others. And new earth isn't like we're going to wake up one day and it's arrived. It's a gradual process, and there will be for many, many years, could be 100 years, 200 years, until it's fully anchored.
Please don't say that.
What I'm saying is it could be because it's not a bad thing. It's a soul's choice point. So some souls are going to choose to still live in the old systems. So
yes,
that's why I said the bifurcation is old earth living next door to new earth.
Yeah.
Until eventually the consciousness is spread so wide that it would be too hard for a low vibrational soul to anchor here, because Gaia will then have gone up. So but it's not going to happen overnight. It's definitely not. I don't see it happening in one big solar flash, boom, everyone woke up from a sleep and we're in happy la la land. No, we're creating it bit by bit, individually, outside of the chaos. Yeah,
wonderful.
Quickly touch on Hawaii.
Please, it's your battery.
Yeah, my battery. If I suddenly just freeze and stop talking, then I've gone. So I did share with you a little bit with Hawaii. So I saw that it was not lasers from the sky. It was more on the ground. And I think I shared this with you about 2 weeks ago, hey? when I went to go channel after our last video. I will channel
Yes.
information. So when I asked for it on the ground, ignition, also gases under the ground, and rods, sort of type of rod energetic that would heat up rods of earth that would go into certain structures, could be trees, buildings, that kind of thing. And then gases that were very combustible, that would cause the fires to become even more rampant. What Spirit did tell me was the dark obviously put the psyop into the truth community about lasers from the sky, because they always want you to look in the opposite direction. So look up if it's coming.
It wasn't due at all, what they call direct energy weapons at all. Or do you think that
Um,
fueled
so the direct energy weapons possibly on the ground to start. So they're not coming out of the sky. It wasn't coming out of the sky. It might have been like trucks or whatever on the ground, but ignition. So all I got was ignition on the ground, but sparked on from underground by gases and rods. There was infighting in the dark structure cabal, whatever you want to call it, the very higher echelons, who we don't even know their names. I know what that structure looks like, but it's not I can't say their names, the typical bloodline families people think of.
The Roths and the Rockers.
Yeah, those are middle to upper echelon. They're not the highest.
Yeah.
So there's infighting because there's not the same cohesion there, and the higher echelon didn't actually want the fire to get started because there is an energetic offset. So what Spirit showed me is that Hawaii is the place for the seed point for Lemuria. So what happens is a fire is also like a rebirth. So it's a rebirth and a reseeding for New Earth. And they wanted all of us distracted with.
They knew that would happen.
Yes, and that's why they didn't want
it to happen.
That's why they didn't want it. Yeah. It's not so much about even an awakening, because those who are awake will already see it. Those who are asleep won't see it. It was more about that reseeding for New Earth, because of fire's transmutation. And they said to me that they put that blue houses, celebrities, I didn't see too much about it, lasers from the sky, into the truth community, so that everyone was focused on that, rather than putting their attention into sending healing energy to I know people did do that, but to Hawaii and to the DNA coming online for the indigenous people there, because it also sparks memory within the DNA. So they said to me, a lot of the star babies, so like the babies and children in their sleep, were doing work there for this whole reseeding, rebirth, and this seed point on Earth where the fires were. But it was definitely a dark attack. Yeah.
Sure.
But not amazing. A cohesive one.
Yeah. It's kind of what I felt as well. I felt like something positive was going to come out of it, even though it was devastating to many people. And I also immediately felt that Lemuria link. For me, Hawaii is kind of representative of what Lemuria, the heart of what Lemuria was, right? And
yeah,
it's going to be beautiful to see that rising again, and the kingdom of Hawaii finally getting its sovereignty back.
Yes.
From the US. And
so that was also part of because it was getting its sovereignty back from the US is part of the reason why there was infighting about it and wanting to sort of cause problems there. But
so then in your mind, it wasn't a land grab at all?
No. There were layers to it. So partly a land grab, partly a what's the word I'm looking for? A retaliation possibly is a word for becoming a sovereign state, not wanting that to happen.
And happening on the Lion's Gate, that energetic, because there was a very high energetics around that time.
Yeah, but they hijack that.
Kind of just like a hammer, just came down on that
because
beautiful
it's a seed
vibration.
Point. It's a seed point for New Earth, so that's why they tried to hijack the Lion's Gate, and what we're creating through this beautiful vibration in the Lion's Gate. They try to hijack it through starting the fire there. But like everything, there's a energetic flip side to what they do, and yeah, it's actually, I do see, again, there will be a bifurcation there. So not everyone's DNA will awaken. Not everyone will go. There might be partial land grab. They might, so it'll be next to each other. New Earth, beautiful New Earth, Lemuria, seed point. And then, old structure. It's never going to be at this current now moment in time in a linear sense. It's never going to be all just, it's all wrapped up, it's all tapestried, it's all
Interwoven.
woven together. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, so I just wanted to tell people, if you want to do some work, I can highly recommend Farah. She's amazing. They call her a cosmic quantum surgeon. She really goes into your body, and very efficiently and quickly working through your body and finding the blockages, finding the interferences. And so I can highly recommend her. I think she's very gifted. So I will leave her links below so you can contact her. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I also want everyone to get your amazing candles. They're so beautiful.
Oh,
So yeah,
thank you.
they are really, really special. And
Yeah,
also
you will get yours shortly.
I'm so excited. And also we definitely want to do some kind of collaboration in terms of a master class together. So I'm thinking possibly around original consciousness or AI or something along those lines, but where we can get some tools and practicing how to astral travel and how to do that kind of work, conscious astral travel. Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll let you guys know the details of that soon and the dates, and we'll work out all the details in the next couple of days. I think that's going to be very exciting.
Yes.
Exciting collaboration.
Anina, it's always just so awesome chatting to you. So thank you for your time today. And guys, the biggest message is you create your timeline. Don't buy into what's happening around you, no matter how insane it looks. Just do the work, emotions, thoughts, actions, and taking cohesive steps, heart coherence, drop into the heart. Sometimes when I'm struggling with something, Spirit will just say, close your eyes, drop into your heart.
Take a deep breath.
It makes the steps, should I send that message, should I move in that direction, makes everything so much more clear. So we really are being asked to step into that and to step into our connection, and our co-creation with ourself and our field, and this quantum energetic that we're working with.
We all have that ability, guys. So stay high vibe, stay in joy, stay in creation, stay in your heart, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes, awesome. Lots of love. Mwah.
Much love. Bye. Okay.
I'm just going to press stop record.